reading book, English book, okay? But the first thing you need to know that my English is not perfect, okay? So just you don't understand something, then don't worry, because sometimes I myself I don't understand either. So just take it easy and enjoy the reading, because maybe my English is not perfect, but I will try my best, okay? And I love this story, and I know how to put myself in the story, because this kid, this boy, this pain in the ass, somehow is me, somehow I'm kind of pain in the ass too. So let's enjoy the reading, okay? I will try my best. Okay, the book I name it A Spiritual Revolution. Page 1. The moment the child is born, you think is the beginning of its life. The moment an old man dies, you think is it the end of his life. They are both not true. Life is far bigger than birth and death. Life itself has no beginning, no end. When you die, just one chapter of life is closed. It was only a chapter in a book which had infinity chapters. One chapter closes, but the book is not closed. Just turn the page and another chapter begins. The last moment of your death, the way you die, will decide what happens to your next life. What you collected, what you have brought with you like a seed. That seed will become a tree, bring fruits, brings flowers, and more seeds. You cannot read it in the seed, but the seed had the whole blueprint. If you die fully alert, see in the whole terrain that you have passed and the whole stupidity of it. You will born with a sadness, an intelligence, a courage automatically. It is not something you do, but the God, the Lord. I was born on 11 December. It was the day I, for the first time, opened my eyes and saw God all around, in the green of the trees and the blue of the skies. After my birth, my mother had told, for 3 days I didn't take any milk, so my family and the doctors were so worried, concerned. They were trying to force me in every possible way, but there was no way I could explain to them that I had to complete my 21 days fast in my last life. I am really stubborn. For 3 days, no one could put anything in my mouth because I simply rejected. But after 3 days, I was perfectly okay, and they were all surprised. It remained a mystery to them. I tell you about this only because it may make you reflect about yourself and set you in search of your past life. The moment you know your past life, there will be a spiritual revolution and evolution. Otherwise, you will get lost in endless life and reach nowhere. You love me, you trust me, so whatever I say, you may trust it. But I insist again and again that anything that is not based on your experience, accept it only hypothetically. Don't make it your belief. This is a little bit not so, but let's try the next one, okay? Page 2. Kukwada, my birthplace, was just a small village which had a few small hills, a few huts, a few very old trees surrounding the pond where I used to play. The village has an ancient pond. Day in and day out, they could hear flock again and again. That sound of frogs jumping really helped the prevailing silence. That sound made the silence richer, more meaningful. My house was just in front of a lake. The lake was full of lotus flowers, and I could sit for hours, so self-content. And if the war did not matter, I would continuously either in the lake or in the river. A pond or a lake in a certain way is dead, closed, not flowing, not going anywhere at all, static. The lake never moves. It just remains where it is, dormant, simply dying, everyday dying. There is no resurrection. Resurrections? Maybe, who knows? The river is totally different. Even just a small one is as big as the ocean, because sooner or later it is going to become the ocean. The river is always on the go, rushing to some unknown goal, perhaps not knowing at all what that goal is, but it reaches, knowing or unknowing, it reaches the goal. That small village grew into itself. It is so pure, unpolluted, blissful, and peaceful. There was no school, no road, no railway, no post office, no hospital, and again no school. Not even a primary school. What a blessing! No modern child can afford it. I remained uneducated for those years, and they were the most beautiful years. Page 3. I was lonely child because my maternal grandparents were old and alone, so they wanted a child who could be the joy of their last days. I was the oldest child in the family, so my parents sent me. I lived with 3 old people, my grandparents and their old man servant, Bura. The gap was so big, I was absolutely alone. I was left to myself. My house was not so rich, but still the richest in the village, so my grandparents did not allow me to play or talk to the village children because they were dirty, poor, and almost were beggars. I was so lonely that I started enjoying it. It is really a joy, a blessing. I started feeling self-sufficient. I was not dependent on anybody. Whole day I would sit for hours under the trees next to the lake. I had no desire to go to the village to meet anybody or talk to anyone. My grandparents were aware that I enjoyed my aloneness, and it was their sharp duty not to disturb me, and they started loving my silence. So for 7 years I remained undisturbed. No one to nag me, to prepare me for the war of business, politics, diplomacy. My grandparents were more interested in leaving me as natural as possible. Page 4. I hope that you still hear me. I don't know that my voice is good enough or not, but still trying. In those days, in India, it was a common practice to steal rich people's children, then to threaten the parents to pay for money. They tried to steal me. 2 things saved me. One was my very fast and strong horse. The second was Buddha. He has a gun. He was ordered by Nana means grandfather, to fire into the air, not at the people trying to abduct me, because that is against Zionism. Zionism is my Nana religion. Luckier its work. My nanny used to tell him, remember, if you come home without him, just to report to me that he has been stolen, I will shoot you immediately. She said, don't bother about what my husband says. First, you can fire into the air, but if it doesn't work, remember, if you don't shoot the bad guys to save him, I will shoot you. Always to the point, never grows aroused. If anyone touched my try, you are not just fire into the air because we believe in Zionism. That belief is good, but only in the temple. In the marketplace, we have to behave in the way of the world, and the world is not China. When a Dakite tries to steal my child, speak the language they understand. Forget all about Jainism. Dakites mean the bad guy, the one who like Adolf. Yeah, like steal the children. In Indian they call Dakite, I think. When a Dakite tries to steal my child, speak the language he understands. Forget all about Jainism. Do you think these Dakites believe in Jainism? Let that old man repeat his mantra. He is a Jaina, you are not, aren't you? Are you? Buddha said, I am not a Jaina, so I don't care. I can see her crystal clear logic. Okay, number 5 is a little bit long. We need to move to a new video. The page 5 or the 5th page, whatever. My nanny was a simple woman, uneducated but immensely sensitive. She made it clear to Nana, we all have lived a certain kind of life which had not led us anywhere. We are as empty as ever, and now death is coming close. Let this child be uninfluenced by us. What influence can we? We can only make him like us, and we are nothing. Give him an opportunity to be himself. Nana used to say in the night when they thought I was sleeping, you are telling me to do this, and I'm doing this. But he is not our own son, and sooner or later he will have to go back to his parents. What will they say? They could tell that we have not taught him any manners, any etiquette. He absolutely wild. She said, don't worry about that. In the whole world, everybody is civilized, has manners, etiquette. But what's it again? You are very civilized, and what have you got out of it? At the most, his parents will be angry at us. So what? Let them be angry. They can't harm us, and by the time the child will be strong enough that they cannot change his life anymore. My grandfather was again and again worried that he was going to be responsible. They will say we have not taught him anything. I know someone that can teach him some mathematics or little geography, or at least teaching him the alphabet, so when he goes to his parents, they will not say that we just waited 7 years completely. But my grandmother said, let them do whatever they want to do after 7 years. For 7 years, he had to be just his natural self. And we are not going to interfere. And her argument was always, you know the alphabet, so what? You know mathematics, so what? You have earned a little money. Do you want him also to earn a little money and live just like you? That's good enough to keep that old man silent. I am tremendously grateful to that old woman. Life has 7 years circles. By the 7th year, the child is perfectly strong. Now you cannot do anything. Now he knows where to go, what to do. He is capable of arguing. He is capable of seeing what is right and what is wrong, and his clarity will be at the climax when he is 7. If you don't disturb his earlier years, then at the 7th he is so crystal clear about everything that his whole life will be lived without any repentance. When you don't have to repent about the past, you are free from it. The past keeps you entangled like an octopus and goes on pulling you backwards. I am fortunate in many ways, but I was most fortunate in having my maternal grandparents for those early golden years. Nana never said to me, "Do this" or "Don't do that." On the contrary, he put his most obedient servant, Buddha, at my service to protect me at a distance. He has a long gun and is good enough to threaten the village and also allow me to do whatever I wanted. Anything one could imagine, I had done it. Nana was a generous man. He was poor, but rich in his generosity. He gave to each and everyone whatever he had. I learned the art of giving from him. I never saw him say no to any beggar or anybody. Nana used to go to the temple every morning. Yes, he never said, "Come with me." He never indoctrinated me. It is so human to force a helpless child to follow your beliefs, but he remained untempted to do so. The moment you see someone dependent on you in any way, you start indoctrinating. He never even said to me, "You are a Jaina." He never told me to go to the temple to follow him. I used to follow him many times, but he could say, "Go away. If you want to go to the temple, go alone. Don't follow me." Nana wanted the greatest astrologers in India to make my birth chart. He made the long journey to Varanasi and saw the famous man. Looking at the note and date Nana had brought, the greatest astrologer of them all said, "I am sorry, I can only make this birth chart after 7 years. If the child survives, then I will make his chart without any chart. But I don't think he will survive. If he does, it will be a miracle, because then there is possibility for him to become a Buddha." Nana came home weeping, said, "I have to wait until you are 7 to see that you survive or not, because who knows whether I will survive for those years or not." Then we laughed and he made a party to celebrate the news that I could become a Buddha. I asked Nana, "What is the meaning of Buddha?" He said, "I don't know, it just sounds good. Buddhi in Hindi means intelligence, so Buddha means the intelligent ones, I guess. Moreover, I am a Jaina, so we will find out from some Buddhists. Later, when a bhikkhu comes by, I will ask them." Page 7. Nana used to call me Raja, means the king. For 7 years, he managed to have me live like a king. On my birthday, he used to bring an elephant from the nearby towns. He could put me on the elephant with 2 bags full of silver coins, and I could go around the village proving them. Once I started, he could come in his bullock cart behind me with more rupees and said, "Don't be miserly. I am keeping enough. You cannot prove more than I have. Go on proving." Naturally, the whole village follows the elephant on the street. That is how he used to celebrate my birthday. I was so mischievous. I cannot live without it. It's in my nourishment. The whole day Nana could sit on his gadi. Gadi means the seat of a rich man, listening less to his customers but more to the complainers. But he used to say to them, "I am ready to pay for any damage that he has done, but remember, I'm not going to punish him." Once in a while I could say, "Nana, you can punish me. You need not to be so tolerant." He could cry with tears would come to his eyes. "Punish you? I cannot do that. I can punish myself, but not you." Perhaps those years worked a miracle for him. That immense patience paid. He became more and more silent. I saw it growing every day. Never for a single moment I have ever seen the shadow of anger towards me in his eyes. Believe me, I did everything that 1,000 children could do. In the morning, even before breakfast, I go into the mischief until late at night. Sometimes I could come home around 3 o'clock in the morning. He never said, "You are too late. This is not the time for a child to come home." No, not even once. In fact, in front of me, he could avoid looking at the clock on the wall. What a man he was. Number 8. It's quarter time that a census will be taken. The officer has come to our house and asked Nana's religions. He says Jainism. They asked him about Nani's religions. He said, "You can ask her yourself. Religion is a private affair. I myself has never asked her." Was a man. Nani said, "I do not believe in any religion whatsoever, and all religions look childish to me." The officer was shocked, but she was born in Khajuraho, who have never believed in any religions. They have practiced meditation, but they have never believed in any religions. Meditation needs no God, no heaven, no hell, no fear of punishment, and no allurements of pleasures. Meditation has nothing to do with mind. Meditation is beyond it, whereas religion is only mind. It is within mind. Nobody should lie and lie to a child. It is unforgivable. Children have been exploited for centuries just because they are willing to church. You can lie to them very easily, and they will trust you. If you are a father, a mother, they will think you are born to be true. That's how the whole humanity lives in a corruption, in a thick mud, very slippery, a thick mud of lies told to children for centuries. If we can go just one thing, a simple thing, not lie to children and to confess to them our ignorance, then we will be religious, and we will put them on the path of religions. Children are only innocents. Leave them not your so-called knowledge, but you yourself must first be innocent, unlying, true, even if shatters your ego, and it will shatter. It is born to shatter. Shatter là vỡ đập tan. Okay, number 9. I was born in a family which belonged to a very small section of Jainism. I was 5 years old when I saw the first naked Jaina monk being invited into my grandmother's house. He is my grandfather's guru, master. I could not resist laughing because I came to my grandmother. So I came to my grandmother and said, "Can I ask a few questions to this utterly insane man?" She said, "Go ahead and don't worry about your Nana. I allow you." In the middle of the so-called sermon, I stood up and I asked him some simple questions. I asked, "Don't you ever want to be born again?" That's a very simple question in Jainism because Jainism is nothing but an effort not to be born again. It is the whole science of preventing rebirth. He said, "No, never." I asked, "Why don't you commit suicide? Why are you still breathing, eat, drink water? If you still continue in this way, you may have to live 40 years more. Is it a whole another life? Why not commit suicide to stop it now?" He looked at me fiercely, so I had to tell him, "Remember, you will have to be born again if you are still full of anger. Please just answer my question in a peaceful and silent way. If you cannot answer, simply say, 'I don't know,' but don't be angry." Then the man said, "Suicide is a sin. I cannot commit suicide, but I want never to be born again. I will achieve that state by slowly renouncing everything that I possess." I said, "Please show me something that you possess. You don't even have a sock pants." Nana tried to stop me, but when I told him about Nani, he became silent, even without a look from her. In fact, he closed his eyes as if he was meditating. I said to him, "Nana, great, you are angry, boiling. There is fire within you, but you try to remain calm. Your guru is angry because my questions are annoying him. You angry because your guru are not capable to answering my question. But I say, this man who is sermonizing here is just an imbecile. I don't know this word. Imbecile? That days I began my life as a rebel. That days were significant, historically significant. Number 10. That month's name was Santisaga, meaning ocean of bliss. He certainly was not an ocean, but just a dirty poodle. He became so angry that he shouted at me to sit down. I said, nobody can tell me to sit down in my own house. I can tell you to get out, but you cannot tell me. But I will not, because I still have a few more questions. Please don't be angry. Remember your name, Santisaga. You could at least be a little poon and don't be disturbed by a little child. I have another question for you. Jainas believe there are 7 hells, up to 6 there is possibility of coming back, but the 7th is eternal. Once you are in it forever. So I asked the monk, you have said don't believe anything unless you have experienced it yourself. I see the truth in that. So this is the question. Have you visited the 7th? If you have, then you could not be here. If you have not, on what authority do you say that it exists? You should say that there are only 6 hells, not 7. Now please be correct. Say that there are only 6 hells, or if you want to insist on 7, then prove to me that at least one man, Santisaga, has come back from the 7 hells. He was dumbfounded. He could not believe that a child could ask such a question. Is it convenient that when a Jaina monk comes, is it a convention that when a Jaina monk comes to a family to receive his food, after taking meals as a blessing to the family, he gives a sermon. That monk became so puzzled and confused that he started to leave. My nanny shouted, stop, don't leave. Who is going to answer my child's question? And he still have a few more to add. What kind of man are you, escaping from a Stop, don't leave. Who is going to answer my child's question? And he still had a few more to add. What kind of man you are, escaping from a child's question? The man stopped. I said to him, I dropped the second question because you cannot answer it. You have not answered the first question either. So I will ask you the third. He looked at me, I looked at him back and said, if you want to look at me, look into my eyes. There is silence. Nobody said a word. The monk lowered his eyes and then I said, I don't want to ask anything anymore. I don't want a guest of the house to be ashamed. I withdrew, and I really withdrew from the gathering, so happy when my nanny followed me. Number 11. The next day, that monk had to come again because a Jaina monk cannot take food from anybody except another Jaina, and unfortunately for him, we were the only Jaina family in that small village. Watching him come in from the window, Nanny asked me, now, what are you going to ask him? I said, I don't know, but don't worry, I will find something. Let's first just let him eat and speak. He was very cautious in speaking and very brief. He was speaking about the beauty of existence, thinking perhaps that it could not create any trouble, but it did. I stood up and asked, who created this beautiful universe? He answered quickly, nobody. And that was what I was waiting for, because I knew Jainas is pure ethics, pure morality, do not believe in God. Is he an atheistic religions? I asked, can such beauty be created by no one? He said, please don't misunderstand me. I am not saying that no one is someone. I said, I know what no one's in no one's. But if no one created the universe, how did it come to be? He looked here and he looked there. All was silence except for my nanny, who were laughing loudly. The monk asked me, "Do you know how it's come to be?" "Came to be?" I said. "It has always been there. There is no need for it to come. The monk did not turn up on the Thursday. He escaped from our village to the next, where there were another Jaina family, but I must pay homage to him. Without knowing it, he started a small trial on a journey towards truth." Thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoy my reading. That is just what I hope. I don't know if you enjoy or not, but I did enjoy reading a lot. And this story is so beautiful and meaningful. I can read them again and again and many times and still feel so awesome. See you.